say it's about half and half. Half big city dailies and half college and weeklies. And Zippy tends not to do well in small middle American towns, mostly in Baltimore, Washington. The only big city I'm not in, I can't crack is New York. Never cracked New York. Yeah.
You seemed early on to be revolted by the World Wide Web, and now you seem, more recently, you seem to accept it. What was that all about?
World Wide Web grabbed me and pulled me in. I met someone about 8 years ago. Actually, someone you probably know, Phoebe. I didn't meet her. She proposed the idea of making a website for me. Phoebe Blackmore, the cartoonist, a good friend of mine. She said, "How about I make you a website?" And at that point, so far beyond anything I could do, I said, "Okay." And lo and behold, the thing that I thought I didn't want was actually something that was very interesting, to get instant feedback, to get instant reaction the day you do something, as opposed to waiting 6 months or a year later when it's in a book or something, and someone says, "Remember that strip you did back in July of 1992? I basically said, "No." So that was the first thing that got me. I really enjoyed the instant kind of commentary that happened. And then, it was the year 2000 or 2001, another friend of a friend said, "How would you like me to make your site work so you could sell stuff?" I said, "Okay." I could use more money. And now it's at the point where if I didn't have the website, I couldn't keep doing the comic. I make more from the website than I do from syndication. And my syndication check has remained almost the same since 1986. But my website, pays for the cost of living raises. So, and plus my advice for any struggling cartoonist is to do a website. Get out there in any way you can. It's a great way to expose yourself. Yeah.
A few years ago, I noticed you had an increase in architecture and website attractions in your strip. Could you explain a little bit about that, please?
Architecture,
Yeah.
as opposed to roadside statuary and dimension.
Yeah. Just started.
I think it was Frank Geary who got me going. Actually, where it started was something that is often mentioned in architecture books, the vernacular architecture. The Big Duck on Long Island. If you've ever seen it, Big Duck is a big duck out in one of the appearances in Zippy. And this architect wrote an essay on the Big Duck. I can't remember his name. Ventura. And so I looked into his work, and then I started noticing other architects that were doing clearly whimsical, wacky stuff. Frank Geary. And to me, I don't draw the line. It's this whole high art, low art thing. I don't draw the line between the Big Duck and the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. One of the most bizarre, curious things. It's all of a piece to me. It's all interesting form with, in many cases, unintended consequences. I'm sure Frank Geary thinks he's doing a serious exploration of form and space and texture and yada yada. To me, it's just surreal wackiness. I like it. Anybody else?
It sounds like you've worked in some different hotels over the years, and I wonder what went into your decision to live here and there.
What went into what?
What went into your decision to live here and there?
Well, I haven't done that much moving. I lived in San Francisco for 28 years. The original reason I went there was because that's where underground comics were happening. I came from New York, where underground comics were kind of already withering because of the lack of opportunities or places to publish them. So New York, San Francisco was where comics were happening, and I just stayed forever. In 1998, for various reasons, including just the simple reason of wanting to shake myself up, my wife and I both, we moved to Connecticut, near friends. And that's what started the whole diner series. Because New England is really, the mother lode of diners. And I found that moving in 1998 was one of the best things I ever did because it made me start noticing things again. No matter how beautiful or wonderful or luscious a place is where you live, after a while you tune it out. And moving just gave a huge jolt of new energy to my strip. Prior to that, though, my main locations were New York, and then before that, as a kid, Levittown, and actually, I was an army brat. I grew up partly in Germany, but I wasn't doing comics at the time. Anymore?
What do you think of some of these other sort of snarky, light observing creations like South Park?
I think South Park is very funny, but I'd like to take it in with my eyes closed. I just can't stand the way it looks. And it hasn't gotten much better. When I first saw The Simpsons, I had the same feeling. If I closed my eyes, it was very funny, but if I looked at it, it was crap. It got much, much better over the years. I was very surprised to know that South Park actually is done completely computer graphics. I thought it was literally cut out construction. And I thought, how much lower can you go? I like Beavis and Butthead a lot. Mike Judge actually became a friend of mine over the years. And I like a show that may or may not still be on the air called Crank Yankers with puppets. It appeals to my, caveman brain. So it's really funny.
How about Boondocks?
Boondocks is I can't get into it. It's too angry. I haven't seen the animation. And he's a very angry guy. I've met him a couple times. He has no sense of humor whatsoever. But I do.
One more question, and then we're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay.
Can you reflect back on the underground comics days in comparison to the notes you're selling on the Jam Comics and website? Can you reflect on that milieu and how that differed maybe from the resurgence of alternative comics in the 90s?
Well, like I said, underground comics of the late 60s, to me there's a direct lineage, especially from Mad, the early Mad magazine, which everybody doing underground comics at that time had grown up with. And it was a somewhat unconscious desire, I think, to liberate comics, to take comics back from what had happened from the mid-50s and the great early Mad stuff throughout the 60s and 70s, when comics had become increasingly a corporate enterprise. To me, even what people think of now as the golden age of Marvel, it's really just a lot of corporate junk. I'm sorry, I can't relate to it. And underground cartoonists basically look on themselves, I think, consciously or unconsciously, as artists doing personal work, and if people like it, they do. If they don't, they don't. I think, you can trace alternative comics from the late 60s right till today and see that what started then actually is alive and well now and flourishing more than ever. So when I see new stuff coming along by people in their teens and 20s and 30s, it's great. That this all could have happened from people like me or Robert Crumb selling comics out of the trunk of their car on 8th Street in 1968. So I guess that's it.